I think that shows up quite a bit in ED. It's like it's almost like a body reaction to say, let's not go there. I've even seen it with sometimes people that ejaculate too quickly. It's almost like their body wants to run away.
Hey guys, Shari James here, and on this episode of Himology, I have Jonathan and Heike Hudson. They are a dynamic husband and wife team of somatic practitioners, internationally recognized for their transformative work in sexuality, intimacy, and relationships. Together, they offer workshops, retreats, and private immersions designed to help clients release trauma, break free from societal conditioning around sexuality, and experience the depth of sacred intimacy.
Wow.
Well,
That's
that was a
right.
mouthful. But, that's why you're here. You have so much to bring to the table. So welcome, Heike and Jonathan.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for having me.
And after that, for those of you who are watching and don't know me, I'm Shari James, RN. I help men avoid ED medications, get off of them, or in some cases, get them to work with my holistic approach to healing erectile dysfunction. So I think we are ready for wisdom bomb number one. The body remembers trauma. All right, what inspired you to write that as wisdom bomb number one?
Well, Sherry, that is the crux of our work, is that, so many people experience trauma going back. There's generational trauma, then we go into childhood trauma, we go into relationship trauma. There's certainly tons of sexual trauma. And what we've seen over and over the years is like sexual trauma that men experience is something that's not talked about very much. We hear it a lot from women. We work with a lot of women. It seems like every woman we work with has some sort of trauma. But you know what? So do the men.
Mhm.
And so many horror stories around, whether it's abuse that happened from family or babysitters or uncles or going all the way into sexual shaming. So, somebody saying that their penis wasn't big enough or they weren't able to get hard, and the way that that lands in the body and the pressure it creates going forward, it's just something to be cognizant of in life, because when the body shows up to a relationship or shows up to a sexual experience, it's bringing all of the baggage and the memory from every other experience it's had. And so, this is our work to help people get clear, or in somatics they call it resolve the energy stuck in the body from the past. So it's just something I want people to know that, sometimes, most times people aren't broken. There's nothing wrong with them per se. It's just they're bringing these memories and the pressure and the fears and the trauma from the past, and the body is a very wise animal in that sense of like, I don't want to go through that again because it hurt last time,
Yeah.
or I got shamed, or it was really, really hard for me. So let's avoid that at all costs. And I think that shows up quite a bit in ED. It's like it's almost like a body reaction to say, let's not go there. I've even seen it with sometimes people that ejaculate too quickly. It's almost like their body wants to run away, right? Psychologically. It's like, okay, I can get in this for a minute, but I don't want to be disappointed, so I'm just going to check out as fast as I can. And so there's all these little games that the body plays to protect itself, and that's really what it's all about. Is the body is a such a holder of wisdom, but all it's doing is protecting the animal body, protecting itself from more pain.
Absolutely. It reminds me, and I'm sure you've heard of this, the body keeps the score.
Absolutely, one of my favorite books.
Yeah. Can you think of a case offhand where there was sexual trauma located in the genitals that was contributing to erectile dysfunction?
I could go on for hours. One of the ones that stands out for me is a client we had, and I think he was about 6 or 7, and had a sister who was older, and she had her girlfriends come over, and they tied him down, took a drill, and they started like pretending they were going to drill into his penis and drill into his testicles. And he was on this table for like 2 hours in absolute fear. And they obviously, they never actually did it, but they were laughing and they got a joke about it and saying, and they were grabbing his penis and saying, "Oh, it's so small, let's just drill it off." I mean, and that just stuck with him forever. And it was something he never talked about until he was in his 50s. And came to us and said that he didn't even share this with the women he was with, but there
Mhm.
was this absolute fear, even when he was married, of the feminine. Like, that they did this horrific thing to him. And we've got hundreds and hundreds of those cases.
Yeah, I completely resonated with that story and hearing things that happened to boys when they were younger with sisters or other playmates, and how it's still living
Yeah.
in a place of trauma, which, to me, trauma is time travel. So, right, it's like something we're holding in the cellular memory and the nervous system. So let me ask you this. You've chosen to work somatically, and I think for those of you who may not even know what that term means, the soma is essentially the body.
Mhm.
So how do you see somatic release different than typical therapy?
Do you want to take this question?
Sure, I get
So
the
she
mic
gets
for a
she
moment.
gets to talk a little bit.
Yay!
Well, there's the talking part and all the way to meditation and all of this, like working the past on this level,
Psychology too, right? Yeah.
right? Like any kind of talk therapy is really important and has its place, and yet the body has its own cellular memory. And what happens in somatics is you actually bring up the event of the past again. So, for example, in this case, the client with the girls, the sisters, and the drill and the whatever, you make it come alive as much as possible with sensations, and then the client gets to do what he didn't get to do back then. So it's
Mm.
the time traveling, and then all of a sudden all these emotions come up, the fear or the panic or the shaming or all of these different things. And then all of a sudden he can yell stop, he can fight, he can say anything
Run
that
away.
he wanted to say or do back then and couldn't. And in that moment, the body had the chance of making it right. And it doesn't know the difference between whether this is real or not. And the moment the emotions come up and you do something else is when the resolution starts happening. And then after that, the animal says, okay, I punched them. I did whatever I needed to do. I got off the table. I'm reclaiming my penis. It's like mine. And then even on top of it, that it's beautiful and magical and all of the different things. And from there on, the body understands too, not just the mind, that something has been resolved.
Okay, I love that. That's a really good way to describe the distinction between like typical mainstream mental therapy. So you're taking the client into time travel, into the original cellular memory of that event in the body, and then going in. Obviously, the person has to release it. Typically, those memories come up and flash in the psyche. And then you're going in and reprogramming that event so that they're empowered, and then I'm going to use the word safe. So, is there
Good word.
something that you can do somatically to let the body know that it's safe now in this present moment?
And the key is that it's the empowerment is that the client does it itself. It's
Yeah.
not weird putting someone on the table and doing something. It's like they are doing it. They're there in real time. We're bringing breath, sound, and movement to all of this so that actually the
Mm.
body is engaged.
And it just happens a lot faster. Talk therapy is a wonderful thing. And in our view, you're just kind of you're talking about the same thing every week over and over and over and over and over again, right? And not doing something about it. And that's the ultimate goal is like, what can we do about it? And as soon as we get that chance to, like Heike said, to fight back, to run away, to do these things that, it all lives in the fight or flight system of our bodies, right? And it got stuck there. And that's what happens in trauma, that it gets stuck.
Hmm.
And as soon as we can go back in time and time travel, and it's like, okay, you're there again. Let's fight or flight. Let's do what you
Yeah.
had a chance to do, but weren't able to. This person was tied down to a table. They had no chance to go anywhere. They couldn't fight, they couldn't run, and they got
Yeah.
stuck. And so somatics allows the person with bodily movements and energy to like, okay, let's do something about it. And then once that happens, that energy, that stuck energy can finally, and again, in somatics, they call it resolve. I love that word. Like the stuck energy can finally, the incident can be resolved in the body. And then it doesn't have to carry this charge anymore because that
Mhm.
charge is the basis for all the triggers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I feel like I've got one more. Okay. Yeah, I've got one more question cooking around this. We never want to obviously put down mainstream like mental therapy.
Exactly.
It definitely has value. So what I've found is that there are certain guys where that's a better fit,
Sure.
and there's certain guys where this I want to call it almost energetic work. To me, it's very energetic, where this modality is a better fit, this multimodality. So who do you think, I'm throwing you under the bus here. Let's see. Who do you think this type of therapy is the best fit for?
To be blunt, the warriors.
Ooh, I agree. I agree.
The
Jump
ones
into
that,
the fire.
yeah,
Let's
the
get
ones
this done.
the ones that say, you know what, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this running my life. I'm going to do something about it. And that warrior energy works with men and women. And so the people we work with the most seems to be people who have done everything else. You know, they've tried talk therapy,
there's one.
they've tried ayahuasca, they've done, it's like when they get to us, we always like to call ourselves the last train station of
I'm the
human-
emergency room.
Yeah, exactly.
We've tried
It's like-
everything else.
So
I'm the lawyer or the emergency room. That's the last resort.
the last resort, and this is your last stop, which is who we love to work with because we work on these different levels, right? It's a huge spiritual component to it. There's a huge energetic component to it. There's the ability to like, clean up your own and let's go do this component to it. And so the more that people have done all this other stuff, the easier it is actually for us because we take that whole gamut of the different arenas and then can bring it together. As opposed to, it's hard for me to actually to work with somebody on the street. I'm just going to say from the vanilla world, because we have to. There's a learning process, and sometimes it feels to us like we have to move some heavier mountains in that situation than we do when we have somebody come in and they've already got the energetic and the spiritual attunement.
Yeah, I like to be last stop shopping, and I think you too. I like curious warriors, but not desperate warriors.
Exactly, big time.
Hey you, hey guy, who's learning about sexual health, mixed in with some tantra, mixed in with some 5 elements of Chinese medicine and some Western medicine. I want to let you know something. I would love it if you would hit my subscribe button and the notification bell. That way, you're going to know when new content is posted every Friday.